artist, short session.
This is work by Fatmah Bamashmous, who got her MFA in furniture design from the College of Art and Design at RIT. She combines Arabic inspiration with traditional woodworking techniques, infusing her cultural heritage with contemporary functional furniture. Now, Fatmah's working on her PhD, aiming to understand more of her own history while encouraging other women in her country to make their own furniture by hand. Fatmah's our guest on this edition of the Short Sesh. Welcome to the Short Sesh, Fatmah. Thanks for being with us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Before your MFA in furniture design at RIT, you studied interior design at King Abdulaziz University in Saudi Arabia. So what initially turned your focus to furniture and then want to come to grad school in the United States?
After I finished my undergrad study in interior design, I found myself lacking the final stage of designing, which is making and prototyping. So when I was looking online, I found RIT program in furniture design and woodworking. So I decided let's take this opportunity to go abroad and finish my master's degree, and I will learn how to do a traditional woodworking.
Was the program what you expected when you arrived?
For me, as a woman from Saudi Arabia, at the beginning, it was shocking for me because no women are working on this type of work in my country. So at the beginning, I was super shocked, but I told myself, no, let's do it and let's challenge myself. I know I gave all my professor a hard time at the beginning. I was asking every detail, every small detail, how I'm going to use this, how I'm going to use the chisels, how I'm going to use the handsaw. This is all new for me.
Well, it didn't seem to take long for you to get going. I mean, not just making functional furniture, but you found your own aesthetic style relatively quickly. So where does your design inspiration come from?
Since I came from different culture than the US, I want to try to use my design language or from where I came from. And if we go back to the history a little bit, Saudi Arabia is influenced from Islamic art and Islamic design. And the language of Islamic art, it's all came from alphabet or the way they are writing, and also from a geometric shapes. So I decided to take this language and create something that you can use it inside the home environment. So I took the flow of the Arabic writing in my design. So when you see the design of the chair, you will see the flow line going from one leg to the back until to the other legs, the other side.
Yeah. And this is happening in the bench too, also, right? There seems to be this kind of pattern or rhythm of different types of wood that you've used across the surface.
If you see from the side, there is a wow. It's called wow. So the wow, it's what's shaping the whole bench chip. And the repetition in the top, I want to create the idea of repetition, whether I see it in Islamic design and art, and having different type of wood with different dimensions, how I'm going to create a new idea by using the same principle, which is a repetition in my design.
And this sort of cushioned seating set, tell us about that.
These are I call them the silos. You can use it as a 6 pieces that 6 people are sitting on it, or you can stack them together and become a one high seat. It's also influenced by Arabic tradition, sitting on the floor and sitting in a circle, and then everyone can sit together as a gathering. And the pattern of the side, it's also some of the Islamic pattern that I saw in Jeddah or in Islamic art in general. I want to embed it these type of details in all my furniture piece, so everyone can understand this is an Arabic designer who are making this type of furniture in a contemporary way. I think this is the idea behind me as a designer.
Yeah, so each of these objects is a little different, but you're really taking a more comprehensive approach that threads through all of your work. Is that a right way of putting it?
I mean, all my pieces are a way to define myself as an artist who came from Arabic background and try to do and create furniture pieces that has the traditional way of woodworking.
Is there a furniture making tradition in Saudi Arabia? Can you find furniture that's distinctly Saudi Arabian?
Yeah, we don't have that much like furniture related to like Saudi Arabia furniture. All what we have is like IKEA or Western furniture.
So even in Saudi Arabia, there's an IKEA. It's that common.
It is common. Like I feel like IKEA is like a coronavirus. It's everywhere in every house.
But you mentioned there is a traditional Islamic or Arabic design. So if it's not in the furniture, where do you find it?
You can see the woodworking details on the exterior of the buildings. There is something called mashrabiyah. It has like a specific function in all building, but it's not inside. So we are lacking of this. And this is what I'm like trying to do something and change it, like having furniture pieces with the Arabic inspiration.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the West, and especially in Western New York, there's various kinds of craft and design traditions, especially in furniture. I mean, you can find Quaker furniture, mid-century modern furniture, more antique furniture. And I guess we just sort of take those cross-heritage styles or distinct time periods of design for granted.
I live in Jeddah, and Jeddah is like a center of cross-culture things. I feel like Jeddah before, like let's say 100 years, is super different than now. So, what is Jeddah? What is our like traditional furniture? What is our like traditional craft in the Western culture? Like you can see or follow what is specifically happening in that period, and then you can understand the history and why this transformation in the traditional way of making furniture. But in my country, it's hard to follow this history.
So do you see it as part of your mission then to sort of bring a new tradition of furniture to life in Saudi Arabia?
I think it's my mission since design is still like a new field in my country. I want to design something with our identity, but the thing is, it's hard to find. So that's why it's our responsibility as a young designer, looking for where we can find this heritage and maintain it. It's not like one person job, but I'm hoping in the short future I will do something different in my country.
After your MFA, you returned home and you were teaching furniture design, but now you're back in the States working on your PhD. And I'm sure you've been asked, what's a furniture designer doing in a PhD program?
Yeah, at the beginning they were shocked, like, wow, furniture maker, what are you doing here? Why you want to take your PhD? I said, I think it's for me, like now as a researcher or a seeker, like I want to understand my history since, like, let's say Saudi Arabia started, and how this tradition are changing, and learn our like next generation. I want to make like a resources for people after me who are coming and learning about this history. I want to understand not only the making process. Now I want to understand the culture. I want to understand user. Is this is functional for their own culture or not? So it's my job now to know about user and what their preferences so I can improve the design.
You also talk about furniture as a way to create more sustainable lifestyles. What does that mean to you?
For me, sustainable is changing your user perception of having a furniture piece that are connecting to them and tell a story for generation. Designing a furniture piece is not just designing a chair to make you sit. Like, I don't know, maybe my grandmother was sitting on it all the time. Then this piece is going to stay in my living room. I will remember my grandmother forever.
Yeah, it seems pretty common in the States for people to have antique crafts like jewelry or furniture even that belong to an ancestor. But even if not, antiques in general seem to be kind of this popular pastime for Americans.
I wish we have the idea of having antiques in our house. I think the story behind the furniture piece is what I wish people would understand. Like, it's not about the piece itself, it's the story behind it. Maybe my furniture piece gonna like keep it for generation for my grandchildren.
I don't doubt that at all, Fatima. In fact, you're sort of making this kind of antique furniture for the future, and it will certainly last because of the story behind it or that personal connection, but also because they just hold up physically. It's well made. And that's another reason why it can last for so long, right?
Yeah, I hope in my country they value the craft even. If the buyer understand the process and the deep connection between the maker and the piece itself, maybe they will value the piece itself, I guess.
So when you're done with your PhD, Are you going to go back to Saudi Arabia, continue making furniture, return to teaching?
This is like my big goal. We are thinking to start a new wood shop. I'm sure it's going to be hard because it's going to be like the first studio or the first shop going to be made in like girl university, because there is a lot of shop for men. They can access it and do whatever they want. But in like girl university, we don't have this heavy tools shop. When I study furniture design class, I saw a lot of students. They are passionate, like they want to make their pieces by themselves, but they are not able to do it. So yeah, I think this is going to be like a big goal for me at having a studio and teaching other girls how to make stuff. Having women working on this type of design and this type of field, it's like still new, but as soon they have the access to make their own stuff by their hand, I think it will be much much better. So this is going to be like something new, maybe women's hand in furniture making.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that. And so at this point, you've got this solid design and research foundation, and you've got these clear goals in mind. What advice would you give others? I mean, what are you going to tell your future students?
Do whatever you like to do. And even if you think it's hard, just try it and challenge yourself. Like I remember myself on the first day, I was like shocked. But then as soon as I put my hand on the woodworking and I understand the tools and how that work, it was like fascinating. You will feel like there's a connection between your brain and your hands, and you will make stuff like surprisingly good enough to satisfy you as a designer and a maker at the same time. Just try and what Obama said, fake it until you make it.
Well, that's what I do every day, Fatima, is fake it till I make it. Unless I don't make it. And then I'm just faking it.
Just do whatever you like and keep going.
Good advice. Well, Fatima, I really enjoyed this, and I want to thank you for spending some time with us on the short sesh today. And I look forward to catching up with your work and your research and your pursuit of a new furniture design studio and tradition in Saudi Arabia.
Hopefully. Thank you for having me, John.